Rod.
How are we doing, guys?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very, very well, thank you.
Good evening.
Good evening. So we've got a few more minutes, and obviously we're not waiting for anyone once Larry's on, so we're just going to get started tonight. Right, so what time is it? Hope everyone's got pen and paper ready. 3 minutes to go. Oh, I would laugh so much if Simon's late for this. 30 years of waiting, dear me. Make sure we're set up and recording. The last time I had a conversation with Larry and Taylor, I didn't even think about recording the call. So I recorded it on an MP3 on my phone. I didn't think of recording the video because I was just so focused on what I was going to listen to. So today we've got everything.
Hello, guys.
Hi, Rosie.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
Where the hell is Simon?
Are you? Okay, good.
Ah, there he is.
Good evening, good evening, good evening.
I would have laughed my socks off if you'd missed it.
As if.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
what we've got, so who are we missing? We've got waiting for Jamie, Jan. Well, we're not waiting for anybody, to be fair, because we're not waiting for anybody. Once we got Larry, we're going.
All right. Good, good.
Hello, Simon.
How are we doing?
Good, and you? Everybody's
Good.
happy days.
What time is it in Johannesburg?
It is now currently 1 minute to 2200 hours.
Okay,
And
1 minute to 10. Okay.
Half of my house is fast asleep, including the fur babies.
Well, there you go. There
And
you
it
go.
is 8 p.m. in the UK.
It is.
Yeah.
And in America, it is 3 p.m.
3 p.m. Yeah.
Well,
That's
depends on,
New York.
depends on
time.
where in America.
Eastern time.
Well, I always go New York time.
Yeah, Eastern.
Yeah.
Eastern time.
Then, yeah.
Well, Larry's on Central Time, so Larry's in Texas.
It is boiling hot here. I'm sitting with the air conditioner fan on. It is boiling.
Yeah, to be fair, none of us need to know that.
Okay. No, that's really rubbing the salt in the wound.
Yeah, sorry.
Okay, so how many people have been making the way through?
Guys, just a little tip. Just a little tip, guys. The majority of you have, but can everybody have their cameras on? Yeah, I think we've all got on.
Yeah, we've got someone called.
There's
So we've got someone called
decency.
iPhone. Who's called iPhone?
Yeah.
With a blurry picture.
I hope it's not me.
Nope.
No.
Guess.
I can only see 2, 4, 6 people in the top of my panel.
Someone's put Kelly. I think Kelly's put it in group chat. Yeah, it's Kelly.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
Kelly.
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 Right.
Kelly, you should be on a computer. Or if not, you need to make sure your camera's
I've got
on
a
your
message
phone.
from Taylor.
Everybody smile. Cool.
Okay, Jamie, you need your camera on.
The messenger on.
Hey, what
Hello
about
to
you?
all- Hello to all the faces. So nice to see everybody's face.
Camera's broken.
Who, Larry's?
No, whoever's that is, I think, is it going? It's Kelly's. She's put a message in saying camera broken.
All right. Okay. Can anybody hear my dog snoring?
No.
No, you ask that regularly.
Well, it's because he's sat in my bloody... Snoring his arse off. Right. There we go.
Hello.
Look at all you strangers. How are you?
Hey!
Hey, Larry. How
Hello.
are you? Okay, so guys, time for us to get started because I've got to be honest with you. We've been looking for Larry Taylor. We have been looking forward to this so much for the last week or so since you said that you would do this. When I told all these guys who they were going to be speaking to, people are starstruck. Simon Brooks, you can see in, well, Simon, give us a wave. Simon Brooks, Fraser's father.
How are you, Simon?
Friend of mine
I'm
for
doing good,
30
Larry.
years.
Doing good.
Friend of mine for 30 years, and for 30 years, well, for a good decade, for that first decade, we drove up and down this country playing your audios and listening to this radio. And I've been through the book cover to cover.
I've still got the orders. These are like antiques. I can sell these for fortunes in Sotheby's.
Hey, listen, if those are antique, you can think about what I am. If the tapes are antique.
Well, the trouble is, we've got no equipment to play them on.
Okay,
Yeah.
well, that's,
So-
you guys, that's all changed. And I'm going to give you, you're going to be able to get it immediately today if you want. Okay?
Okay.
Actual tape today. Okay? So how do we get started here? Let's get moving, guys. I'd like to say, how many do we have on? Approximately 15, 20? What do we got?
We
15.
have 15 people.
All right.
Great.
Now, we deliberately kept this
excited.
down. We kept this group down, and we did it when you and I spoke. You said get a few people.
Yeah.
All of the people that we've got on here either have a team already starting to grow or are serious about building a team. So everyone is committed to this. We're all in various different stages, but everyone knows that the best person to be listening to is you two guys. So I'm going to make, guys, can you make sure that you're muted so we don't get any interference? And we're going to make it so that Larry and Thompson and Larry and Taylor come full screen when they start talking. And Larry, Taylor, over to you guys.
Wow, thank you so much. Well, it's such a pleasure to be with you guys here today. So I wanted to set this up because I think this is such a fascinating story and how all this came about. So, you know, I won't talk about this part of the story. So we'll get to, you know, the book and how this all came about, why you're here. That's the first piece. But so we were doing a focus group. with a group over in the UK and Ireland, with one of the companies that we're working with and the teams that we're working with. And so whenever we were getting ready to launch the book, they're actually good friends with Fraser. And so they said, hey, let's maybe Fraser may want to do a live meeting with you guys and talk about the book. And so we connected with Fraser and so had this amazing conversation. And so then as Fraser and I were talking, then we realized that his dad, because how he says he goes from the womb or the room, he was in the room, in the womb,
in the tomb, probably in the tomb, in the room, who knows?
And so interestingly enough, his dad was in the same company as John Solander, who was one of the contributors in the book, who started with Larry. And Herbalife, and then went on into Lifestyles, which was the company that Simon was in, which Fraser grew up and around. And then, so Fraser actually, John said, I actually used to bounce Fraser on my knee, in the meeting. and so anyway, I just found it so fascinating how there's just, you hear the stories about the few degrees of separation, how people are so connected, and even across the globe, how small the world actually is whenever you think about it from that perspective. And then, so whenever Fraser, whenever we're on the live, and he said, okay, I'm going to do if you buy the book and you tag me in the book, I'll do a free training. And then Larry and I said, okay, so we'll match it. We'll do three trainings as well. And so Roger ended up being one of the three that won the training with us. And so we had a meeting with him, and that's what brings us here today with you guys. And so I thought that was a kind of a fun story, how that all interconnects. But if you don't mind, I'd like to tell a little bit about.
Did you see how she did that? She's looking at me like, if you don't mind, that means I'm taking over, man. You know what I mean? Guys, pay attention. This training just started. Okay.
Are somebody having some issues? Let's see. What is Tracy? You're having issues?
No connection issues at my end, Tracy. So I don't know what it is at yours, I'm afraid, but we can hear it.
Does everybody hear us okay? Everybody's okay?
Yeah, it's all good with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
All good with me.
Okay, just
Right, you got to record it for the people in case you can go back and review it. Is that correct? Oh, thank you.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about this and set this up. So, because Larry wants to do this, and he won't talk about the story, because I always think it's very fascinating whenever you think about the history, whenever you think about how did you get here, and whose shoulders are you really standing on to get to this place. And I really think that it's really important to pay respect to the people that have paved the way, that have been the pioneers to our space, that has allowed us the luxuries and afforded us the possibilities of being able to be entrepreneurs and work for ourselves and work around our families, and to be able to make residual money. And so I wanted to share a little bit about the story and the background in case if you don't know this part. I'll tell, my story goes back 28 years ago. Whenever I started, I was looking for a way to make an extra $800 28 years ago. I wanted mom care versus daycare, and I think about moms aren't too much different nowadays. They still want mom care. They still want to be able to contribute to their family's income without disturbing their lifestyle, without, being able to take them to the soccer games and all the activities, but still be able to make a financial contribution. And that was my mindset 28 years ago. And I was really, really fortunate. I was super blessed to come into what I call this learning, teaching environment where a mom like me, I had no business background. I did have a degree, but I'd never done any kind of business like this before. And I feel very fortunate that I was able to be brought into where it was a really fun, simple, magical. And that was kind of the concept that the path that I was brought up in. And I was, my very first month, I made an extra $2,400. And I don't say that to brag. I say that to validate or social proof that these concepts that were handed to me in these form of a training in these cassettes 28 years ago afforded me that kind of environment that I could do that. That it was fun, simple, magical, that it wasn't complicated, that I could do it around being a mom and all the mom responsibilities and all the hats that we wear. I never saw myself as being a top earner or, a high income. I just wanted extra $800. And so, but I go back to, this was in my distributor kit 28 years ago. The tapes that you saw Simon hold up, I mean, they weren't hijacked, probably, like those are probably hijacked or dupes of dupes of dupes of dupes, who knows, right? They were actually the real thing. And so, but then I want to take that back even more so. Whenever you think about, this coming February will be 40 years that Larry stood in front of a live audience that was his very first live meeting as a vice president of sales with Herbalife International, that they debated on whether to, to spend the $150 that it took to record it. And I want you to think about this because, I mean, sometimes whenever you say the words or you say these kind of things, you kind of gloss over it. But I really want you to think about, whenever we're here, I mean, we're literally a whole world away from you, but we're able to see each other face to face. When you think about technology and how easily it is at our fingertips, we have recording devices that we carry around in our pocket, so we wouldn't think twice about recording anything today. But 40 years ago, that was a big deal. It wasn't, we didn't have the cell phones. We didn't have internet. We didn't even, there was no, we didn't have those kind of afforded technology luxuries that we have today. And so that meeting was recorded. And fortunately for us, it was recorded. And I want, whenever you think about the all of these people that started as the contributors, you think about like the Jeff Robertis, you think about who's known in our space as $100 million man. He was started as a broke waiter. Him and Dan Stamen, his very best friend, the co-owner of World Ventures, they came to the same meeting, right, to watch Larry. And they didn't have any business background. Whenever you think about Rolf Sorg, who, for those in Europe, you probably know PM International, right? He learned how to speak English on Larry's training, right? And last year, this is the second company that Larry's helped mentor to over $1 billion annually in sales. And so I point that out not to brag or anything. I'm pointing that out because what happened in this was in our distributor kits. This was our training. There was no shiny objects on every corner. There was no social media. There was no coaches. There was no courses that you can take on the internet. They had to be students of these principles. They were students. And that's what I found to be very interesting as I went through the interviews of all of these different people, that they listened to these tapes, even to this day, over and over. They could recite it better than Larry actually could repeat it. It was so crazy. But in 1985, something very significant happened, and it changed the world. It changed network marketing, the world as we know it even today, because the FTC, the FDA came in and sued Herbalife. And it wasn't because, you got to think about it, like there was people making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month, even in 1985, because these products were changing people's lives. So, you think of big pharma, how the threats and all of those things that come into play. And so they sued Herbalife, and Herbalife did not lose this battle. And I think this is very important to the story. They only had to change 16 words on their label. But in the midst of all of this, there was fake news even back then, because USA was touting or claiming that these products were killing babies. So you can imagine if you were trying to do business and you had the fake media, the press, you know, really bashing your product or bashing your company, it would really be hard to do business. And so what happened is that all of these people that had learned these briefcase of skills, these principles, these concepts, they were forced to go out and to go and start other companies, to go other directions, to carry these skills, to carry these leadership skills into various parts of new companies, with new products, with new compensation plans. And so I think this is a very important for you to really understand that why that's so important and why I think it's so relevant to you and why you're sitting here today is that it really social proofs the fact that these principles work no matter what your company, no matter what your product or service, no matter what your compensation plan looks like, that these principles can be used and are validated. And as long as you are willing to, you know, we call it have the burning desire, being willing to work and being teachable in the process. And so I really felt that I wanted to take a few minutes, and I hope you don't, thank you for allowing me the chance to do that, because just sharing that little bit of background and having the understanding of why this is important and why it's relevant to you, even in your business currently today. And so I hope you don't mind me.
No.
That. So
Hey, guys, no problem, dear. Yes, dear. You know what I mean? That's another lesson here for us guys. Yes, dear, no problem. Okay. And the girls understand this. I want you guys to understand that. Okay. Anyway, listen, what's fascinating, I really appreciate, this is fun for us. You guys got to understand. And when we were going through this, you got the private training class. I said, well, let's add to it. Let's get the team on here and see what we can do. And what I call getting more milk out of the cow. Okay. There's always a little bit more milk in the cow. You got to get it all out of there. And that's one of the things that I've prided myself over 52 years now, to be able to get the most out of anything that you possibly can. And the other thing is creating something out of nothing. Okay. And Taylor was talking about the crash that we had in 1985 that led to the whole development of the industry. And as you guys read the book, and some of you I know probably haven't gotten it yet, but as you read the book, you're going to find some fascinating things in here. Everybody in this book that's here, okay, all went off and have built the industry. These guys are still active. They're still active, okay? They're not retired. Everyone says, you know, get set up and have the reserve. These guys are still active, either #1 in their companies or in the top 10 of their companies to this day, okay? Or owners of their company to this day, okay? So it's the principles that matter. Now, why is the book coming out? Why is it coming out? Because Taylor has been wanting to do something like this for a long time, and I've been hesitant, you know? I just hesitant. Okay, not that I didn't think it would sell, not that I think it was going to be some value. I was just hesitant because what's the point? You know, the tapes have been out there for all these years. But what happened to us about a half a dozen years ago, actually 8 years ago, we started working and doing consulting work around the world, around the globe. Okay, and we were actually in Dubai. Okay, where Fraser now, we were in Dubai, and I was talking about the principles and the concepts there. And it was a small group, a very powerful group, but we were there. And I said, there's only about a half a dozen things you really got to know to do network marketing. There's only about a half a dozen. And I made that statement a couple of times. Finally, somebody raised their hand and said, well, what are those half a dozen things? Okay. Now, when I'm talking about a half a dozen things, I implied that in this original recording. When you guys go through the book and you guys get the download, you're going to hear all this stuff. It'll all be validated. Everything is there. But there's only a half a dozen things you really need to know. Let's talk about learning how to drive a car. Okay? It's a half a dozen things. I don't care if you're Mario Andretti. Okay? There's a half a dozen things. That's all there is to it. Bodybuilding, Arnold Schwarzenegger, a half a dozen things. Okay, that Arnold does that I do that I'll never be Arnold. Okay, because there's those half a dozen things in its desire and its willingness. And so when we start,
think about any kind of sports, baseball. You guys do football, right? Basketball. There's a half a dozen things, right? It's what you are practicing. It's the fundamentals of right? A half a dozen things. That's the concept.
And you're going to learn here about this as you go through this, the 80, 15, and 5 principle, okay, which is now it's been coined over the last half a dozen years or so, the Thompson rule, okay, the 80, 15, and 5. That's valuable to understand, okay? It's in the book, okay? It's in everything that we do over at the Academy and stuff, but it's important to understand that there's a half a dozen things to learn how to drive a car, okay? And they're the same for all of us. But some of us are very nervous drivers. Okay, some of us are excited drivers. Okay, some of us are in the media. Remember when we were first learning how to drive? Okay, and you couldn't even get rid of the steering wheel in the beginning. Remember that one? Okay, and that's the way it is when you start business. Okay, but what happens is that some of us get really like driving, and there's an 80% group in driving. 80% of the driving force over there learn it to go from point A to point B, got a little bit of nervousness and a little bit of this, but we all do it the same. 15% of the people on the road, yeah, they do this, okay? They talk on the phone, okay? And they do all kinds of stuff. And 5% of the people on the road got a Starbucks in one hand, a phone in the other hand, going down the freeway, and they're driving with their knees, and they're dealing with text, and they're dealing everything else, okay? Different desires, different skill levels, okay? But the fundamentals of learning how to drive are the same for everybody. The variables, the 80, 15, and 5, and you guys will learn more about that. I don't want to spend a lot of time about it, but I do want to direct you in that way. So what happened when those half a dozen things in Dubai, when that question was asked, okay? I laughed. I said, boom, nobody's never asked me that, okay? As you go through the book, and if you go through the download, you'll hear it mentioned in there. There's only a few things you got to know. And I started laughing until I said, I don't know, but I bet you before we get through this day, we'll identify it. And we did. And so it's fascinating that led to development of the book, and it led to our LT Academy, and it led to a lot of things. And I'm sharing that with you just for information, and because we got a lot of stuff we want to share with you guys today.
Because you didn't finish this part of the story.
Yeah, have that.
Okay, so this part is good too, because why now, right? Why now? So it was about 2010, whenever we were working, and what happened, you think about like 2010, whenever social media really started taking off, whenever social media really started rising up in and through how people were doing network marketing and how people were building business. And so a lot of people were saying, okay, what you guys teach is old school. That's old school. How many of you guys have heard that term, old school, right? And, you sit there and you go, okay, is it old school? I mean, is it really old school? And so, honestly, being completely transparent, Larry and I kind of questioned, okay, is it old school, right? Because everybody was teaching social media techniques. Now, in the book, we talk about the concepts versus techniques, or principles versus techniques, right? So a technique is telling you where to go, what to do, what to say, right? A concept it never changes. It's fundamentals, right? It's run, hit, catch, throw, right? So what happened is that we started working really heavily over in Europe, because at that time, 2011, Europeans really weren't so much into social media, and we started working with a handful of people over in Spain. Now, this was through a translator. And
you understand, we're working with 13 people in a new country through a translator.
So it was it was in Spain. And, but what was happening is that these people, these were ordinary people, Larry's a long-haired hippie, I said, stay-at-home mom. And they started having great results, and they started growing, and they started ranking up and we just started with a small group. Well, interestingly enough, Italy, the country next door across the way, they were like, hey, what are those guys doing over there? We want to do what they're doing. So we were like, okay. So we start again, translation. We were going through translation, but what was interesting was the dynamic was different because the demographic was different. The demographic was between the ages of 18 to 25. the demographic was heavily into social media. The Spain group, they weren't implementing social media, but the Italians were. So we started working with them the exact same way. Basics, fundamentals, core values. But what was very fascinating about them is that they started growing exponentially. And what they were doing is they were taking what we were teaching them with principles, and they were blending them together with their social media. And so it was driving the message faster. So what it said to Larry and I is that fundamentals never change. Principles always stay the same. It's the delivery system that changes. It's the delivery mechanism that you use to deliver the fundamentals that evolve. And what I mean by that is that whenever you think about social media, we've had social media with us since the inception of network marketing. Whenever Larry started as a long-haired hippie construction worker 53 years ago, his social media was mailing out business card postcards that he had handwritten address and said, you know, I have a business opportunity for you to make some extra money. You know, call now if you'd like to have some more information. That's the
I got it out of the phone book. Some of you don't know what a phone book is, okay? But an actual phone book. And I would rip out about 10 pages, and that was my pages. And I'd give 5 or 6 pages to my team to do the same thing. That was social media.
Now, Simon's laughing because he probably did that a few times, I would suspect, right? So, me, whenever I did, you know, whenever I started, I mean, I was using ads in the newspaper. I was using business card flyers that I would put on people's cars, right? There was ads in the newspaper. There was fax broadcast. I want you to think about that as being the social media, because what is actually social media? Whenever we deem it or we categorize social media is just an opportunity to get someone to raise their hand to say, hey, tell me more about what you're doing. What is that? Tell me more about that opportunity. Tell me more about what you're talking about. It's a curiosity post. I want you to think about, like, my business card flyer said, we'll pay you to lose weight. Call now, right? What is the person on the other end? They wanted to know, how do I get paid to lose weight, right? It was a curiosity post, but the technique or the delivery system or the social media platform was ever changing, ever evolving. Are you guys tracking with what I'm saying here? So social media has been with us for years. It's always been about people creating a curiosity, allowing them to raise their hand, say, tell me more about what you're doing. I want to know more. And then gives you an opportunity to what? Have the conversation. What? To tell your story. To what? Share your product or service, share your opportunity with them, to get them to say what? To raise their hand to take the next step. So what we were seeing, and I'm taking you through this whole process so you understand why the book is so important now, is because what we've seen over the last half a dozen years is that whenever you look at as a whole, whenever you look at network marketing, our network marketing is not going up. It's actually declining. And most people don't know that. Most people don't realize that, but it's true, because our space is trying to change network marketers into marketers. Now, I want you to think about this.
Pay attention to this one.
This is real important, because I want you to, our space in network marketing, whenever you bring them in, people want to try to teach them how to market. There is a big difference between marketing and network marketing. Network marketing is fun, simple, magical. That the 80%, the long-haired hippie construction worker, the stay-at-home mom, the one in that pool, that 80% that we refer to that wants to make $500 to $1,500 a month. Those are the stats that we show. So what happens? You bring somebody into your business, you bring somebody into your company, and what is the first thing that we want to teach them how to do? We want to teach them how to make a post. We want to teach them how to do a Facebook Live. We want to teach them how to blog or brand themselves, or I could go on and on and on. Now,
That's hard for you guys.
Now-
You guys don't like doing it.
Now, so, and I'm not saying anything bad about it, because it works,
Yes, it
and it
does.
works beautifully, and it works very well for the 15 and the 5%ers. Okay. But now if you've got 80% of your business is going to be the person that wants to make $500 to $1,500 a month, what are you teaching those people? What are those, what are you sharing with those people that make it fun, simple, magical for them, to where they don't have to be a marketer before they're a network marketer? What is the track that you're bringing them in on that allows them to do it around their time, around their family, around their space, without interfering with anything, that makes it easy for them to make those few hundred extra dollars? Because let's talk about this for a minute. You know, in Larry's story, he talks about, like, you know, when his very first meeting, whenever, you know, Bobby DePew gives the meeting, and he says, you know, you can see a lot of us are making a lot of money, right? But what if this only works out 10% for you, like it's worked out for the rest of us? It could be the best thing ever. Well, Larry defaulted to that 10%. Whenever I came into the business and they shared a story with me about this couple making $10,000 a month, when I answered an ad, and I was like, there's no way I can make $10,000, but maybe if they can make 10,000, maybe I can make 800. And I want you to think about, that's the mindset, that's the target, that's the audience that we as networkers need to be speaking to. And so whenever you go back to the book, whenever you think about what's happening in our space and the reason it's on a decline, is it possible that people are falling by the wayside because they just don't believe they have what it takes? They don't believe that they can do what you do. They don't believe that they're good enough. They don't believe they're strong enough. They don't believe they're tall enough. They don't believe they're short enough. They don't believe they're pretty enough. They don't believe they have a big enough database. They don't believe that they have the confidence to do a Facebook Live, or it's so complicated. So whenever we talk about principles, and Larry talks about a half a dozen things, what we were saying is like, okay, let's talk to that 80%er. Let's equip people just like the way we came in, and make it fun, simple, magical, and equip people and allow them to think, I am good enough. I can do this business. I can do this around my family. Because, and Simon, you probably can shake your head to this. I mean, think about this. What were we always told? It's the average person's best chance. It is the average person's best chance to be able to create something around their family, then do something extraordinary, right? So now more than ever, this book is relevant. Now more than ever, principles, concepts, people need to believe in themselves that they can do this again.
Very good. Very, very good. You got me excited. Let's talk about the average person's best chance for a minute. Okay. It used to be network marketing, the only place. Long-haired hippie, never finished a proper schooling. No, I didn't have a chance at university or anything. Okay. And I didn't finish high school. I don't know what it'd be called in your country, but that's just the 12 grades. Okay. I never finished that because I was too shy to give that oral book report that was required. You may not even know what that is, but we used to, today, they don't even know how to read anymore. But you used to have to read a book, write about the book, and then you had to walk across the stage in front of your classmates and give a report on the book. And you didn't have, you could mumble as long as you said, well, my name is Larry Thompson, and the name of the book is Millionaire Training. It was written in this year here, and this is what's about. You'd get a passing grade. Okay, that they didn't put a lot of pressure on that. They wanted the skill to be able to do those three: read, write, and present. And after 2 years in a row, me being too shy to do that, I had it done. But being too shy to do that, I wasn't going to finish the 12th grades of the proper normal schooling. And so at 16 in America, we were allowed to quit school at that point, and I did, because I wasn't going to graduate. It wasn't going to happen. And even if it did, I wasn't going to university. it wasn't in my family history to do such a thing. It was just, especially that many years ago. And I was going to end up in construction work anyway, because I did it. My family, my dad, my brothers, my cousins, my uncles, they were all in construction work. And it was a guy thing. And I was looking forward to that after high school. Okay. And so the day that I quit school, I went to work the next day in construction work. And I loved it. I loved it. I loved the whole deal. I was very good at it. You say something, I was as good as that as I am at this, okay? Because it's just something I like, and I picked up the skills right away and got moving on it. And it never occurred to me to do anything else or look for anything. It's never crossed my mind, ever. In the book, you'll read how I got there, okay, with the phone call and went there that night. It's all there, so I'm not going to spend the time on that. But I will tell you this, okay, at that very first meeting, and you'll find out that at that very first meeting, when I got there, two people influenced me dramatically. Number one was Bobby Depew, the guy giving the meeting. Bobby was a former school teacher and a little frail guy, about 5'9", 160, 70 pounds, very soft-spoken. Okay, everybody loved Bobby. My mom just absolutely loved Bobby because he had that ability to communicate with you and drive it deep. Bobby was given the meeting that night, and what got me was a statement that Taylor said here. I was excited about being there, but I never thought about doing it. But that statement said, maybe. And so that happened that first night. But there was something significant that happened that night too. There was another guest there that night that joined the same company the same night at the same meeting, and that was Jim Rohn. Okay, Jim Rohn and Bobby Depew had worked in a company called Neutral Bio, which was a very big deal. It was 2 or 3 big companies that came up in the 60s, and they were part of that. And Bobby wanted Jim to become the vice president of training, and which did happen. But Jim said, I'm not going to come in as that. I'll come in as a distributor, prove myself, and then when I go in front of the people, I've got a story. You know what I mean? And I learned from that. Okay. But Bobby and Jim took an interest in me, and I think they took an interest in me, and it took forever. They spotted me, and they saw, because I was an oddity. Okay, back then the profile, the demographics that was there, I give it the best positive description I could give, were 3-piece suit guys. Okay, cigar smoking, whiskey drinking at the meetings, wearing white shoes and driving Cadillacs. Okay, sales type of people, heavy sales people. Okay, I didn't fit that profile, but Bobby saw in me, and it took me for a few years to start figuring out. I could see it in people all the time. I can see in 5 minutes. I got taste. I've been wrong a lot, but I've been right more than I've been wrong. And that desire, I saw that desire they saw in me to want to do better. Okay, that desire that, wow, maybe I can do this. I never thought I would ever get rich. It wasn't my goal. Okay, I was just excited about being around these people and being around this environment. And maybe it was the first time I was ever in a hotel in my entire life. I'd never been in a hotel. Okay, but that desire, that willingness to work, and that being teachable. And what got me with is, as I hung around that flagpole, Bobby kept saying, "There's only half a dozen things you got to know. There's only half a dozen things you got to know." And I was taught that if you learn these things, okay, you learn these things, no matter what your background was, no matter what your education was, no matter what your circumstances were like. And that's important to understand. Life's current circumstances. You're going to find out throughout the academy, throughout the book, we talk about life's current circumstances. You're moving forward in your business today, in your personal life, your family life, your spiritual life, and it fluctuates, because our life circumstances change sometimes on a daily basis. Okay, one day we're way up here. Okay, but now what happens? We have a flat tire, and now we have a flat tire. Okay, and now that pushes us down here. Sometimes we're way up here, and guess what happens? One of our kids come home, and we got to stop, and we got to deal with that. And sometimes it's a week. Sometimes, you guys know what I'm talking. Life's current circumstances. One of the fallacies of our space, is you rank up and you get here and you got it made. It ain't true, guys. It ain't true. Okay. You get here, you get to put your feet up on the desk. Okay. I will tell you right now, and I had a phone call, very powerful phone call today with a very influential network marketer over in the United Kingdom. And we were talking about this. Okay. He's at the top of his game. but he's humble and he had the understanding of what I was talking about. Our current life circumstances changes all the time, okay? And we think, and I'll use rank, I'll use the description basic, rank, silver, gold, platinum. You guys understand now it's quadruple, diamond, purple, all this crazy stuff, okay, that they got going on. But basic, silver, gold, platinum, okay? And we think and we teach that if you go from basic to silver, you got it made. You guys know that's not true. You struggle at silver. Some of you go past silver to gold, and you go to platinum. Okay, that happens all the time. And you think that every platinum if you're a platinum, that you operate and your job description 100% all the time? The answer is you don't, because of current life circumstances. Okay, and I will tell you, the majority of the people that have that so-called platinum type of rank are running around frustrated and disappointed because they thought they were going to get there and that was going to be the answer, but life circumstances. So when you're building your business at 80, 15, and 5, you guys have to dig it. You guys are going to have to be self-taught this. You're going to have to pick this stuff up. We'll keep working with you, but you got to dig into that. People today, there's 3 groups of people that are out there today, and we talk 80, 15, and 5. 80% of the people in the marketplace today are very happy if they can learn how to make $500 to $1,500 a month. Key phrase, without disturbing their current lifestyle. $500 to $1,500 a month without disturbing their current lifestyle. Some 15% want $500 to $1,500 a week, but they want it without disturbing their current lifestyle. Okay, and others want $500 to $1,500 a day. Okay, and they're willing to disturb everything to get that done, and we got that, but they don't stay there. I'll give you another example. We're building up to get someplace with you guys. Arnold Schwarzenegger, Mr. Universe, what, 6, 7 times? Okay. I'll never be Arnold Schwarzenegger. I got the discipline. I don't have the desire. Okay. Don't have the desire. I had the discipline, and I have the discipline because I work out. Okay. But I don't have the desire to do that. Most people, you go to your local gym, I'll use LA Fitness. It's a brand here in America. Okay. At LA Fitness, they understand this principle better than network marketing companies and distributors, that 80% of their membership, their autoship, are people at the gym that only want community, juice bar, and lean against the cardio machine. Lean, not use it. Okay, 80%. And if they feel good about you, whoever, this case would be LA Fitness, they feel about it just doing this and themselves for doing this, they'll stay around. They'll stay around. And you never know when their current life circumstances will change and they'll want to do more. They never have to change it. They can always stay there. That's all you want. 15% of the people at LA Fitness want community juice bar, but they want to use the cardio machine. Okay. 5% want that, but they want to become Arnold. Okay. That's what they want. And if the environment is stronger than will, you need to write that down. Your environment you're involved in is stronger than your will, okay? Because environment influences you. And if the environment, which I'm now going to call behavior, because we talk about audience, language, and behavior, your behavior that drives it, okay? So what would happen if you're at LA Fitness, Community Juice Bar and Lean, and someone comes on, when are you ever going to use that cardio machine? I've been watching you for 3 months and you never got on it. They no longer feel good about LA Fitness. They don't feel good about the cardio machine. But here's the biggest one. They don't feel good about themselves. They don't feel they're tall enough, short enough, young enough, old enough, and they go isolated away. Okay. I was taught differently on that. And I've always taught the way that we're talking about here. So 80, 15, and 5, the foundation is vital. Again, it's your responsibility to dig into this more. It's all there. The 6 pillars that half a dozen things, we went and after we said, wait a minute, those half a dozen things are in millionaire training, but they're not spotlighted, okay? And so when we started working with the 2 groups, especially over there in Europe, and we started working with this younger group, we saw that everything still applied the way it ever was. We just had to identify what we are now calling the 6 pillars, okay, which is in our academy. Now, I'm sharing all this with you to get to a point here that Taylor shared some things with you just a few minutes ago. Average person's best chance. That's what I was praised on. Network marketing. Why? You don't have to have the education. You don't have to have experience. You don't have to have the money. You just got to have enough desire, willingness, and being teachable to fit into the 80, 15, and 5 category, okay? That's changed. Network marketing, that's no longer the truth, that's the only place to get it, okay? It is no longer. And matter of fact, it's shrinking. I'll give you some stats here. And I'm going to give you US stats because I don't have the international stats because they don't publish them. Social media. If you are using social media, the same social media, as Taylor said, has always been with us. How would you like to build your business today off of a technique that made millions of dollars for a lot of people in the 90s? You know what it was? Fax, broadcast. Fax, broadcast. That was a way to onboard people. How would you like to build your business today off of fax, broadcast? How would you like to do it off of handing out a video, okay? A video that you had to hand. How would you like to do it where they had to come down and see you face to face at a hotel or a meeting place Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday, okay? All vital things. They change, they always change. And as today, people have been taught these social media platforms, they work. But I want you to write this down. Addition, duplication, and multiplication. The people today that have really gotten well at social media are doing fantastically well. And by the way, all of these branding things and everything that they teach out there, they work for a small group of people. But here's what happens. It's only addition. One who gets one. Very rarely we talk about duplication. When was the last time that one got another one without you doing a 3-way or without you doing whatever you want to do? Okay? Think about that one.
Well, and I want you to think about this part too, because I want you to think about how much time, because I know because please don't take this wrong, because we're not bashing any kind of marketing. We're
Not at all.
bashing social media. We're trying to get you to identify where you're spending your time, where you're trying to get your people to spend their time, instead of doing the things that are income producing, right? That are fun, simple, magical, that you've got all the speed bumps removed that allows for the multiplication to take place. And what I mean by that is that how you bring people in is how you're going to bring them up. And whenever you bring them into an environment that is inclusive versus exclusive. And so what I mean by that is there's a lot of things at play in here. So kind of, so I'm gonna go on a few different rabbit trails based on what Larry said. Okay, so because, okay, for instance, we'll talk about 80, 15, and 5. Now, and we were having a conversation in regard to Roger about this, and which is kind of how we got to this meeting right here. You know, your company and the company that you work with has it goes after what percentage, right? Because you have people in your company, I see them, they're touting their cars.
The Lamborghini bikini conversation.
We call it the Lamborghini bikini conversation. It's money, it's flash, it's
lifestyle.
It's
Look
lifestyle,
at me.
it's all of those things. There's nothing wrong with that. However, is it inclusive or exclusive? How many, if you are only going to go after that audience, I want you to think about how small that audience is. That's not a very big pond to fish from. Okay. And it can be very intimidating. Would a long-haired hippie construction worker be attracted to that, or would he be intimidated by that? Would a stay-at-home mom like me, would she be attracted to that, or would she be intimidated like that because Again, I want to use, we'll use the gym analogy. Ladies, you ladies will understand this. We'll use like LA Fitness versus Gold Gym. How many of you ladies would feel really comfortable going to work out at a Gold's Gym in Venice Beach?
That's the Arnold area.
How many?
I won't even walk past it. I'm so intimidated.
Right? And ladies, you probably can identify with this. How many of you like heard ladies like they were like, oh, I can't go to that gym. I need to go lose weight before I go into that gym. Okay, that is the environment, right? Inclusive versus exclusive. So I'm trying to paint the pictures here so you can connect the dots as to what kind of environment are you bringing people into? How do they feel in your environment? Do they feel like they're tall enough? Do they feel like they're short enough? Do they feel like they're good enough? Do they feel like they can do what you do? All of those things that you need to evaluate whenever you bring people in, because we want to fish from this audience, right? We want to talk to this audience, because how do you get to the 15s and the 5s? How do you get to that person? I mean, Larry started out as an 80%er.
Everybody in the book.
I started out as an 80%er, right? What I'm saying is that whenever you create your business that is geared around this pool, automatically the 15s and the 5s will come out of this pool. You don't have to attract that person. You have to talk this person. And what's the difference between this audience, and this audience? The only difference is desire and activity. That's it. They do the same things. There's no difference in the activity. It's just more of it. Are you guys trying? Does that make sense to what I'm saying? So if that's the case, then how can you have the conversations, or how do you attract this audience and make it fun, simple, magical for them? What is the language that you're using whenever you are having conversations? And is it communicating to the person that you're talking to, wow, that sounds simple. Wow, I think I could do that. If they can do that, maybe I can too. That's the question that you have to be asking yourself whenever you are talking to a potential new customer and potential new distributor. So because I think this part is real important, because this is the conversation that we were having with Roger, and we were doing a few GPSs with some of the things that he was saying, and he was like, oh my gosh, like my team, like they need to hear this. Like, this is so great, because here's the thing. We all have the best of intentions whenever we're having conversations, but we don't realize that we're inadvertently create speed bumps for people whenever we bring them in. We don't inadvertently realize that we're creating challenges for us by the things we say and the things we do.
80, 15, and 5. So basic, silver, gold, platinum. Okay. We think that it's absolute. We think that we're a 15% or 80% or a 5% based on rank and based on income. No, it's based on activity, 0. Because just like you think that Arnold, Mr. Universe, 6 times in a row is operating at that 5% level today. I guarantee you he's not. Okay. He's not. Could he if he wanted to? The answer is yes, but his life circumstances have changed. We think when we get the platinum 5% that we're here, we're always that way. That's just not true, because we fluctuate back and forth by desire and willingness. Okay, Taylor was talking earlier here about this. What's the difference between an 80, 15, and 5's job description, a basic, silver, gold, platinum? What's the difference in their job description? You know what it is? 0. We think, well, you come in here, now you get to the silver position. Now we're going to give you this training class. Okay. And then you wait until you get to the gold. Okay. Does that mean that I don't have the ability to get there until I get there and to get it? Okay. 80, 15, and 5, silver, gold, platinum. The job description is identical. It never changes. and it's onboard new customers and onboard new members, period. Okay, it isn't going to another training class. There is that once you know how to onboard customers and members, once you know how to do that, okay, it's the same audience, language, and behavior. It's the same desire and willingness. It's the same. Now, let me give you another one. Okay, this is a lot of stuff, guys, and all we're trying to do is zap your brain and say, wait a minute, I want to get on this train and see what else I can get. That's what it's about. Okay, so if we're saying, what do we do if the job description is the same, silver, gold, platinum, and it's to be able to onboard members and customers, and we do that, the variable in between those things is, it's not permanent. Rank is permanent, okay? Income can be permanent, it can fluctuate, but job description and activity is always identical, always identical. Okay. So let's jump in here just a little bit here and see if we can put some more meat on this bones. Everything in marketing, if you got to become a marketer before you become a network marketer, you're in a small pool. I'm going to give you some stats in America. I started to a few minutes ago and got off track. There's approximately 6 million people in America that are involved in direct sales. 6 million. And in that 6 million that is out there, almost every one of them are having the same conversation. I guarantee you that I could put you on 5 phone calls in 5 days, put a blindfold on you, and when they mention the name of their company or the products, we turn off the hearing, you don't hear it. And it's the same. Mr. CEO, Mr. or Mrs. Master Distributor, Pulitzer Prize nutritionist that developed this scientific product, okay? They're all the same. It's the same suit, same different shirt and tie and pocket hanky, okay? Not discounting any of that. I'm just telling you it's the same conversation. They're all talking to the same market. 6 million over here. By contrast, okay, in Herbalife, we identified an audience, language, and behavior in 1980. I want to give you this comparison. In 1979, there were some major things that happened in our space, okay? Number one, okay, the Amway fought for years to fight for our industry. And there was a lot of things that happened. No, I want to get into it, but it was unbelievable. For the first time, our government recognized that this was a real profession, and they didn't look at us as pyramiders anymore. And they defined for the first time multi-level marketing. And it said if you operated within these parameters, you're no longer a pyramider, you're a multi-leveler, and you're okay. Guess what happened to all the companies? They stole the audience language, they stole the behavior, they stole the audience and the language, but they kept the behavior. In Herbalife, we saw that, okay, if this is going to be, they got us now where they said we're okay, then that means we're no longer whiskey drinking, 3-piece suit, cigar smoking, Cadillac driving audience. We have a different audience. Hence the stay-at-home mom, hence the lady truck driver, hence the waitress, the waiter, okay? A different audience, okay? So you had to talk to them with a different language, okay? And create a different behavior. How did these kids, Mark Hughes and Larry Thompson, start out of the trunk of their cars and build this gigantic thing, and in 5 years became the #1 direct sales company in the world? Okay, how did that happen? Okay, it happened because audience, language, and behavior. It started with the recording of Millionaire Training. Now, what were the other companies doing? The other companies started watching this, and they started watching Herbalife, and they wanted to replicate Herbalife. They got audience, they got language, but they still had the wrong behavior. LA Fitness concept, you understand? And they were missing the behavior. You can steal the language, you can steal all of that, but you got to be able to create the behavior. I'm sharing all that with you because the audience, language, and behavior has changed again, okay? From 2015 up to here, it went like this. Remember I said addition, duplication, and multiplication, okay? It was growing like this, but you know how white grew? Addition. Very little duplication. The people that could learn that social media stuff, it started to do. hardly any multiplication, almost zero, okay, where it happens on its own, okay? So the audience and the language and the behavior, okay, they took advantage of it, but they didn't get the behavior in social media. And as a result, from 2015 to 2020, it's gone down across the board. No matter what we may say about network marketing, how great it is, it's gone down because they missed the behavior. They missed it. Why? Go ahead.
Well, I think this part is important too, because we have to remember we are no longer competing
There you go.
against other network marketing companies. That's not your competition. You got to think about your competition as Amazon, Uber's, Fiverr. I mean, I want you to think about all the other opportunities there are for people to make money from home if they have a computer.
Long-haired
If
hippies,
they
single
have-
moms.
If they have an app, you know, how there's so many opportunities, affiliate marketing, e-commerce marketing, drop ship marketing. I mean, people are inundated with opportunities in their inbox, on their social media feeds every single day. So this is no longer the average person's best chance, right? Because we've got other outside influences that are grabbing people's attention. So, but here is the magic. The magic for us is, and this is where I want you to know that you can have a different conversation, because we are still in the business of leverage. We still are in the business of residual income. We still have the best opportunity if you understand it, right? And if you position yourself in the way that you can leverage it. The only way that you can really leverage it is to start creating that environment where you can create multiples, not addition, but create a multiplication factor. How do you do that? How do you do that in this kind of environment whenever there's so much going on? And that takes us to the conversation that we were having with Roger. And we were just asking him a few things like, how is it that you know, what is your business model like? How are people using your business model? You know, and correct me if I'm wrong, Roger, if I say anything that wasn't quite in line. I'll kind of recap our conversation to the best of my ability. So he was said, okay, so our business model is people are bringing people in to use the product for, you know, they're using the product, they are consuming the product. But what's happening is not necessarily people are recruiting people to use the product. They come in and they become product users, and that's kind of where it stops. So there's not a lot of people that are coming in and building and leveraging the team aspect of it. So did I do a pretty good job as
That's exactly right. That's the situation as we see it.
okay. So we've started asking, like, okay, so what kind of the conversations are being had? You know, what is being said? You know, what's taking place in the recruiting? And I did make this point, you know, and if the shoe fits where it, I think that this, and correct me if I'm wrong, but I did think that you agreed with me whenever I went and I shared this piece of it. Because you do have a company that is so out there, I will say, with so much money and opulence and all of those things, I think that, now this is just an outsider looking in, so I may be completely wrong, so don't take any kind of offense to it. This is just my, you know, my little opinion, is that people feel intimidated from the recruiting aspect if they're not making that kind of money.
Absolutely.
If they aren't, you know, at that high rank where they can flash the cars and flash the money and flash the trips or whatever it is, then you as a team member don't feel like your story or what you have to offer someone is strong enough to recruit. you think, okay, I gotta do more. And if I get better and if I get a bigger check, you know, then people will be more attracted to me and then I can recruit more people on my team. Am I hitting some nails on the head here?
Absolutely right. We hear people say that they'll come on board, they want to get a result with the product first before they talk to their family and friends.
Right. And to be honest with you, I mean, just so you know, you're not alone. This is the mindset that most people, I'm going to say in the 80%, even if you are, no matter where you are and what rank you are, what's going on personally with you and your business, there is a large, I would say, intimidation factor of people that are even top ranks that have that kind of feeling. They feel like, okay, it's not good enough. It's not strong enough. I'm not attractive enough. And so, but what I want to do is first of all, I want to dispel that for you right this minute. I want to dispel all this because you all are here. You're chosen here. You chose to be on this call for a reason. There is something of success that you have with you currently, that you are good enough to recruit anybody into your company right this minute with the story that you have. And so all the more reason why this book is so important in today's world. And the reason I say that is because here's what I'm going to tell you. If every single one of you on this call, even if you were making $100,000 a month, I would tell you, do not tell that story. And do not share that with any brand new person, ever. Even if you were, I would say it would be a handicap to you. Even if you were making $10,000 a month, I would tell you, do not share that story. It is a handicap to you. And the reason that it's a handicap to you, and the reason it would be a handicap to anybody in today's climate, is because everybody that you're having conversations with are not going to believe that they're capable of doing that anyway. And so you're not identifying with your audience. You're not connecting to the person that you're having the conversation with. Most people that are having that conversation, they're having that conversation because they want to be the issue. Sorry, that's what's going on. So it's not about the person that's delivering it. It's about the person that's receiving it is the most important part. And the person that's receiving your information is that you have to be constantly communicating not by your words, right? Not necessarily you're saying that, but by the words that you are saying and how you are saying it, is the whole time that they're listening to you, is that you want them to be saying in their mind, oh my goodness, that sounds so simple. Oh my goodness, I think I can do that. Oh my goodness, if they can do that, maybe I can too. That's the communication that you want them to be having in their brain as you are talking. Because you want all the barriers to be lowered in their brain. Because why? We want them to believe if you can do it, they can do it. We just need them to take the next step towards us. So what's happening is that people aren't sharing their story, so they're not recruiting people. They're not recruiting people because they're not sharing their story. They're not sharing their story because they don't think their story's good enough. So I'm here to tell you that if you made $50 last week, your story is good enough to go recruit somebody. And I will tell you that, again, if you were making $100,000 a month and you made $100 yesterday, that's the story you would tell versus the $100,000 a month story. Why? Because the long-haired hippie construction worker, if he heard that story, he'd be like, $100 yesterday? Are you kidding me? Wow, maybe I can do that too. Are you guys tracking? Are you guys picking up what I'm putting down here? Okay.
Okay. I want to come back to two things here. Okay. 500 to 1,500 a month. How do you get there? I don't care what company you're with, and I don't care what it is. It's pretty hard if you got one customer a week. Okay, one customer a week. It would be almost impossible to not be making 500 to 1,500 a month. Okay, it'd be almost impossible. So let's use that as a premise. No matter what your price percentages are and all that, $500 to $1,500 a month. Okay, what if you want to make $500 to $1,500 a week? What do? You find a little team that wants to make $500 to $1,500 a month. What if you want to make $500 to $1,500 a day? What do? You build a bigger team that wants to make $500 to $1,500 a month. Okay, that's the language. Now, I talked about 6 million people in the network marketing space, direct sales space in America. Okay, everybody's competing for that same market, and the stories are the same. You know it as well as I do. Okay, it's just a different, same suit, different shirt and tie. That's all it is. Okay, it's the same. You're competing over there. 2015 to 2020, the industry, the direct sales industry in America is declined. Okay, now 2020, it's going to go up again because of what's happened with COVID. Okay, but let me ask you a question. Probably your guys' company sales volume, your sales volume went up also, more than likely, if you follow the pattern. My question is, what did you do differently to cause that, Mr. Company Owner, Mr. Master Distributor, Mr. Doctor and Scientist? Okay, what did you do differently to make that your sales go up in 2020 versus what it has been from 2015 here? The answer is external circumstances. Had nothing to do with it. So what's going to happen? They only have found a new baseline that's going to show up in 2021, and they're going to be right in the same spot, either declining or staying flat. Why? Because it's no longer the average person's best chance, because they don't have the behavior to attract the bigger audience. And that's the gig economy. We hear about the gig economy all along. I got to tell you, we work with the leading experts in the gig economy, personal friends of ours, and we've been going through this for the last almost 3 years. Okay, we got the most current information, and we have designed everything we're doing to appeal to that gig economy. There's 60 million people out there today, right now, pre-COVID, that are looking for $500 to $1,500 a month without disturbing their lifestyle.
So this ties back to the conversation that we also had with Roger. So before we go there, I do want to say this too, because, I have, what your company does. I told him, I was like, okay, that's a little intimidating even to me. I'm like, that's a little scary, right? So I can also imagine too, is that people aren't recruiting because they're afraid of the questions that people are going to ask them, because they don't know enough about how that compensation plan works. Or so people tend to shy away from recruiting because they don't always have all the answers. Well, then we asked Roger, okay, so how do you bring people in, right? And he was telling us about how you guys do 3 ways, and how you bring people in and then you put them to the upline and you connect people and connect the dots. So I said, okay, so let me ask you a question. Do you think that's a speed bump? Do you think that you're creating, not intentionally, but do you think that's a speed bump? Because what if you can't get a hold of your upline? What if you can't make that connection? What if you can't do that?
What if it's 3 or 4 days and everybody's in a holding pattern?
Right. So, and he was like, okay, that could happen. So what if you could remove that process, right? To where Larry, right, he gets started and he goes into his famous truck stop and he talks to Mary, the waitress. And he's able to tell her, I don't know how this works. All I know is that my friend Roger just got me started, and he, told me how he made $200 yesterday, and so I just got signed up on this stuff, and he just showed me how to use my app, and I just downloaded this little app thing, and I can just do this on my phone, and I don't know how it works, but I mean, he showed me how he made $200 just yesterday. It's the craziest thing. She goes, do you think I can do it? He said, well, yeah, if I can do it, you can do it. That's the concept, right? That's the feel. So and I know that we were going through this process a little bit more, so you might have to go back through a little bit because I had to leave the conversation in part of this, but I'm sharing this with you because it's the things we say and the things that we do that can create speed bumps or remove speed bumps. It can make the onboarding process easier, and the way you bring them in is how you bring them up. Is it possible that the way you bring somebody in, that they could already be trained in your process enough to go out and make money and then show the waitress or the truck driver how to do exactly what you just did in a fun, simple way? Is it possible? The answer is I absolutely believe it's possible. So, Roger, would you like, I mean, I would like.
I want to jump in here. Okay.
You do?
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, okay.
Finish up.
No, okay.
Okay. Here's the thing I want to point out to you. Behavior. Okay. Whatever you do has got to create the behavior of fun, simple, natural. That's what she's talking about. And if I can do it, you can do it. I don't want you changing anything that you're doing. I want you to learn some of this stuff over here and figure out how to blend it. It's called blend, baby, blend. Don't change what you're doing. Blend. Okay. If there's 6 million people down here in the network marketing world, and there's 60 million people up here, where do you want to fish? You want to fish in the pond that can give you multiplication, not addition. And you want to make it fun, simple, magical, because you guys are working your tails off. Okay. You have no life. You got this Zoom and not that, and you're doing this and that, and you got 3 new people over here, and you got to go get them. And you said, hey, I didn't even like talking to that person. Okay. It's all of that kind of stuff. So here's the thing we're going to share with you here, because we've been longer than we told you we were going to be. And I want to show you something here. Maybe we can do a screen share, and I'm going to point this out to you. But here's the most important thing. The key to you guys learning this stuff, okay, you applying this stuff, that's up to you, okay? But what you got here is what we call a flywheel, okay? And I'm going to talk to you about it. But the key for you guys learning this stuff, it's simple, okay? There's a couple of 3 steps. Become a free member of the book club, millionairetraining.com. It's a book club. And what do we do every Friday at 12 noon, Dallas, Texas time? Taylor and I come on, we have other people on, and all we talk about is the concepts and the principles and the 6 pillars that we build our business off of today. It's completely free, okay? Completely free. It's like getting training from Larry and Taylor every single Friday, absolutely free for anybody you put in your business. Now, from there, what happens? They can stay a part of that book club all day long, and they're going to have conversations that mirrors the thinking and the feeling and the philosophy, only a little bit more directional than what we're getting here. You guys have got a different thinking. You got a different look. You say, hey, maybe this is, that's all that's about, okay? Now, from the book club, they can decide if they want to buy the book. They don't even have to buy the book to be part of the free book club, okay? And guess what? You're talking to your negative brother-in-law who's an accountant and a lawyer, and he's a negative. And you say, well, all I know is I got part of this free book club here, man. It's been great. Why don't you go over and go over there and be a part of it? It's a recruiting tool for you, for those of you that can work with it. From the book club, they may decide to buy the book. They can do it right there. They may decide to get the Millionaire Training download. If they buy the book, what is it, 25 bucks? Okay. They might decide to get the audio download that goes with it. That's 10 bucks. Okay. They might decide to do that. What would happen if you had your team in the book club? Okay, what would happen if you had a new prospect in the book club? What would happen if you had a prospect you want to recruit to go there and do that and maybe get that download and maybe do it? It creates a flywheel. Now, they can become members of our academy if they want. Academy's a yearly subscription of $480. That's not something we're going to push. That's a natural, logical. If they want it, they'll go get it. If they don't want it, they don't do it. It doesn't matter. But look at this wheel here. This is called a flywheel. For those of you that have some mechanical things, okay, I'm into cars. I don't understand mechanics, but I understand cars. A flywheel is what makes it go. Okay, any major piece of machinery has a flywheel, and it goes around like this. Here's where we start. I love what Taylor's came up with here and started pitching here a couple of years ago. There's only 2 types of people we know. People we know and people we don't know. Okay, what is our job? Our job is to attract them to find out about what we're doing, to see if they want to take a look at what we're doing. You can do it with your videos, you can do it with whatever you want to, you can do it with a book club, you can do it. You want to attract them, okay? Well, an easy way to attract them, once you understand these things, is say, take a look at this book club, okay? Now, if you attract them, you want them to engage, okay, with whatever you're doing. Now, you can take it directly to whatever you're doing, that's how you get started, or you can say, well, you're getting started with my company, why don't you be part of that book club and have access to that stuff every single Friday? Oh, by the way, maybe you ought to buy the book. Oh, by the way, maybe you ought to get the download. If you had a new person that was going your way, or an old person who wants to go your way, and they're part of that book club, and our first one's tomorrow. Our first one is tomorrow, and we're going to be setting this up. And then every Friday thereafter, we're going to start going through. We're going to explain this in great detail tomorrow. But if you attract them, then you got to get them engaged. You don't have to get them engaged. It's our opportunity to engage. You don't have to get them to do anything. Okay? Make it available to them. They go forward for exponential value is there to keep under the business. It's called Use Talk Demo. Okay? Use Talk Demo. Use my products or service, talk about my products or service, and demonstrate it with stories. With stories of 500 to 1,500 a month, 500 to 1,500 a week, 500 to 1,500 a day of just everyday logical people, so that they come to a natural, logical conclusion if they want to get deeper involved with you, if they want to be able to talk to more people, whatever it is. And then, because if they want to join the Academy is a simple thing, $480 a year tuition every single year. It's like a self-taught university. And we come in every single month and give live interactive training that's about 6 to 8 hours a month. Taylor and I do every single month to service that. So I'm sharing all this with you to just give you a bigger picture. And we've thrown so much at you, it's probably more than you're ever going to need at this stage of the game. But here's the thing I'm going to suggest that you do. Go sign up for the book club. We're going to start it tomorrow. It's Millionaire Training, same title as the book, millionairetraining.com. Go sign up for the book club. And if you got somebody on your team that you think with this might, have them go sign up for the book club. We're going to go into this flywheel in great details tomorrow. And we're going to also have people that started with us using this that have increased. One of these groups is the Moms on a Mission group. They're out of Europe. They're moms. They're all moms, okay? And they're great at selling. They're great at getting customers, but they're always stumbling with recruiting. But by getting involved in this, what they have learned is how to fine-tune this stuff, GPS this stuff. They've learned how to do it. And we started with this group, this Moms on a Mission group in June. We said, give us 90 days. Give us 90 days. Learning this flywheel. Give us 90 days with these concepts and principles. June, July, August, okay? Not much was happening, but they were hanging in there. They were getting nervous, okay? It's just one more program that I got involved with, like the last 7 that I got involved with, and bought this book and bought that program over there and learned them from this guru over there. You know, it's all of that. But I'm telling you, June, July, August, towards the end of August, they start calling us, you're not going to believe it, you're not going to believe it, you're not going to believe it. And in September, they went up 400% in recruiting these moms that pass out if they thought they had to talk to someone about joining. What do I do next? Okay. And they're different human beings because they've got confidence, they've got pride, they've got dignity, and they see themselves differently.
Yeah.
Now, the income level comes as a result of that based on what? There's only 2 things, mindset and activity. If you know what the mindset, that's here. Nobody can dispute that. Nobody can dispute this. This has been out on the market. This trading tape was 40 years ago. There's not a human being on this planet that can dispute one single thing in this book. There's not a human being. I don't care how many zeros they have on their check. They cannot dispute it. It's the real deal. And now with the 6 pillars that we extrapolated out of that, and with our academy, and we say, so how can we get people involved in this faster, quicker, better? That's when Taylor was pushing the book. And we said, if we have the book, we can start a book club and they can be part of this free. And now they can get their confidence up. They can get their thinking changed. And then they can get the audio download that's been bootlegged here for years. They have for 30 plus years, they haven't been available. You had to get them, find them, and bootleg them. They can get the audio download to go with it. Okay, they can participate in the book club. Okay, then if they want to be part of the academy, they can become part of the academy. Okay, and they have that support system that goes with your personal support system that you give them, plus whatever it is that you're doing to onboard customers and members. That's what's happening. So wrapping this thing up, I'm saying, we probably should go to a few questions here, but wrapping this thing up, I'm saying you guys go to the millionairetraining.com, get on the book club, get anybody you want to. We're going to do it tomorrow. And then we're going to do it every single Friday, and we're not going to do it on Christmas and New Year's, but other than that, we're loaded for bear for that. So let's go do whatever we want to do here. And we do apologize for going long. We got excited about this stuff.
I hope we didn't go too long. So
I know we did, but we apologize.
No, absolutely not, because what we heard was gold. There are a couple of things that I would like to sort of just touch on, because I heard you say something, Taylor, when Fraser interviewed the pair of you, that I agree with wholeheartedly. Where's my book? Where's my book? I've read the book. I read the book like so fast. And oh, by the way, I could hear Jim Rohn saying the book as well whilst I was reading it, because I've heard Jim deliver this story so many times as well. But I read the book, and I saw you say to Fraser, read the book more than once, because these days people read the book and go, okay, read that one. And they don't. Simon and I drove around listening to these audios day in, day out, week in, week out, month in, month out. It's about repetition and get it into people's heads. It's not listen to it once and think you've got it.
well, and thank you for sharing that. And it's such a great point, because that was one of the things whenever you looked at the stories across the board, and I kind of tapped into it. But what the common thread between all of them is that they were students. And I feel like that in this economy, this day and time, not very many people know what it's like to be a student of anything. They buy courses, or they buy audios, or they get a book and they skim through it, or let's face it, like you guys have probably purchased courses recently and you haven't even opened them up. You haven't even started them. You haven't, you've probably got them in your inbox and, it was money and you go, oh, well, because there's so much out there. But I love the fact that you're bringing this back full circle, because if it's true, which I hope that we validated this, if it's only true that you learn a half a dozen things, right? Half a dozen things. And if you can just be laser beam focused on a half a dozen things, right? Because here's the thing, then that as time changes, and they will change, as techniques come and techniques go, that you will still have the briefcase of skills to evolve as things change. And because don't be that network marketer that builds your house on sand. Because what I mean by that is that if you build your house on a technique without the foundation, you've got to have the foundation. Because this is the foundation. If this is the rock solid foundation, so then whatever technique that you decide to leverage, it'll only make it work better. But if you try to do the technique without the fundamentals, then you're going to always be changing, and it's always going to be pulled, the rug's always going to be pulled out from under you. So that was one of the things that I loved about the ladies as they were sharing their stories in one of this last focus groups that Larry was talking about, is that whenever you understand the fundamentals, whenever you understand the 6 pillars, whenever you understand this, then you understand the psychology of why you do what you do. It's not about mechanically doing 1, 2, 3, 4. It's about having an understanding of the psychology as to why you say that. You have the understanding of why you do that. And now it becomes authentic to you. It's not transactional. It's not mechanical. It's not somebody else's script that they handed to you and you go, ooh, that feels yucky. I would never say that. Ooh, that I don't feel good about that, right? So you're going to find yourself developing a whole new other set of skills as you start implementing this and you blend it into what you're currently doing. You will be amazed as you see yourself change over the next 90 days, over the next year, if you become a student of this. And as things change and grow, you will evolve and grow with it. You won't be like a flash in the pan.
Cool. Love it.
I've got to say, really, just what you said about teaching the fundamentals and teaching basics. When we had our conversation a couple of weeks ago, you asked me a question that threw me at one point in time when I told you that we send people through to a website and then we get them to look at the website and then we do a 3-way call. And you said to me, well, do you think that sounds simple? And I stopped and I thought, well, until you asked that, yeah, I did. And then all of a sudden I stopped and think, no, I can see faults with it. And I am a great believer in trying to keep things simple. And the conversation that we had, and I'll let these guys hear some of the conversation that we had that sort of made me think, I think we've been doing some things right. And then we've gone and complicated things for ourselves as well. And it is about keeping it simple. And I would say for all of you guys that are watching this, I think there is an excellent tool that you need that goes with this. And that's a highlighter pen, and make notes and really get this stuff properly, because this is important.
I love it.
You know, guys, we spent a lot of time here with a lot of passion, a lot of energy, and a lot of stuff. It isn't to sell books. Come on. It's $24.95, $25. By the time Amazon gets its piece and all of that, there's no money here. Okay. There isn't. I mean, what are you going to sell 1,000 books and what are you going to make? You know, $10? Give me a break. Okay. It's, you know, what are you going to make? Okay. It's not a big deal. It's about the environment. And remember, environment is stronger than will. It's about the basic fundamentals. These things never fail you. Okay. I started to say it earlier and I never got to finish it, but I was taught almost 53 years ago now, that if you learn these things, okay, you should be able to we should be able to put you in an airplane with a parachute on your back with a brochure in it. And as we go across the country, push you out, and wherever you land, all by yourself, you should have a thriving business in 90 days. That's how I was taught. That's what got me to go to El Paso, Texas. And if you guys get over to the academy, I want to tell you something. Go listen to El Paso's story. We all have to go through El Paso's multiple times in our life. That's where I learned this stuff. I got around Bobby and Jim, did really good my first 90 days. The second 90 days, riding on my first 90 days. You understand? Run out of my center of influence, and still riding, driving my Cadillac, doing all that stuff. Okay. Third 90 days, I ended up in El Paso, Texas by myself with no internet, no cell phones, no FedEx, no UPS, no MasterCard Visa, nobody to talk to, but I had the parachute and I took this stuff, and that's where I learned it. This close to going back home empty-handed. I went through 52 people in a row that sat in front of me. You know how many people I had to talk to get 52 to show up? And I'm the only person in the room. I'm the only person signing them in. It's a 3-person presentation, and I'm the only guy. Okay, there, I'm the only guy bringing people. And I had 52 in a row say no. You want to talk about tears on your pillow at night? You want to talk about fear? You want to talk about everything that you can imagine? It was there. But let me tell you something. The Lord brought me number 53. And that's when I said, I can do it. Now, when I've shared that story before, people said, boy, that 53 must have been a winner. He was a winner in this family, but they were B and C team players at best. but it gave me the confidence that if I got one, I could get another one. And that is how that took me through to 1981 when this was recorded. And basically what happened in 1981, Jim Rohn and Bobby DePew handed me the keys and said, now it's up to you. Okay, that's what's happening. Now you know what we're doing with everything we have? The keys are being passed again. This time they're being passed to her because 70% of our space is women, and women are the ones that create it, and men are over here creating the speed bumps. Okay, we know it, we all know it. Okay, and she's got the bill, she's taking this forward to all the future generations, just like Bobby and Jim give it to me. So anyway,
I love the question, Roseanne. It said, how long did it take to put the book together? Well,
how many years?
53 years. I mean, like, if you think about it, it's 53 years in the making to really create everything that this book represents. I mean, it took a year for me to put it all the pieces together, but it was 53 years in the making, because there wouldn't be a book if there wasn't that meeting, if there wasn't El Paso, if there wasn't 53,
Wasn't Herbalife.
if there wasn't an Herbalife. I mean, if it wasn't, I mean, and I love that, you know, some of the things that I share inside the book, you know, it talks about coincidence, right? When part of my story, like, do you believe in a coincidence, right? So there's no coincidence. And so this is, whenever you look at it, it is a legacy. It is his legacy of 53 years. So I guess
But it's about the future.
it is about the
It's
future.
all you.
It is about the future. It is about, yes, prospects can go to the book club. That's why we're
Yeah,
creating
anybody
it.
can.
That's why we created it, is to help you, whoever you are, that choose to want to leverage this in a way to be able to create an environment around us and around our culture, learning, teaching environment. If you don't have that, you're welcome to plug into what we're offering. So you could invite somebody to go to, if they go to themillionairetraining.com, they can just sign up and they will get the email that tells them exactly how we're going to meet and be able to hear and plug in. They don't have to buy the book. They can. They don't have to buy the pot. They don't have to do anything. Just show up if they want. We're making it really fun, simple, magical, and easy, and really giving you tools and equipping you to have conversations and open doors for you to continue to have conversations and open people's minds to the possibility. Because at the end of the day, like we've always said, this is that, you know, network market, I mean, like whenever you become students, I will tell you, if you've already read the book, and probably Roger and you know, I mean, you guys could probably, you know, Simon, you could probably concur, is that these are skills that are life applicable. This is not necessarily about network marketing, but these are a briefcase of skills that you can apply in your life. You know, so does it make you a better human? Absolutely. So whether you continue your network marketing journey or not, you will walk away a better human and be able to connect with people in a different way. So that's what I love about it.
Let me share one last thing with you. That's the third time I've said that. Okay, but one last thing here. When someone signs up for the book club, you guys are going to see, it may be until Friday till this happens, but come Friday, this is what's going to happen. Free book club. Guess what they're going to get? Okay, they're going to get in our community. You know, the second thing they're going to get, okay, they're going to get a video from us, Taylor and I, on a video. We're not going to say how wonderful this thing is. Guess what it is? It's the actual video and the audio of Taylor and I on one of the tracks in Millionaire Training called Employ Yourself. And we're up there describing Larry 1, Larry 2. Okay, we're up there and doing that, and Taylor and I are in the video part. We come up, because it was only audio, we come up and we talk about what they're going to hear. Then they hear it, then we tell them what they're going to hear, what they just heard. They're getting that automatically as a free subscriber. They're getting a PDF of that as a free subscriber. Okay, that is life changing, that stuff. This is all we want to do, is create this environment. I hate the phrase pay it forward. I hate it. I hate it because it's been distorted by network marketers, completely distorted. Network marketers are the best thieves I've ever seen at stealing audience and languages, but they don't know how to create the behavior very well. Okay, the behavior they do is just duplicate. But I'm telling you, it's the best pay it forward for us that we could ever have. We want to change it. The keys to the kingdom have been passed to the future. In the future, right now, is 70% of women in our space. The next millionaire book is being written right now. And some of you ladies I'm looking at, your story is going to be in it. Your story is going to be in it as the waitress, as the truck driver, as a single mom, okay, as a caretaker of your parents. Your story is going to be in it, okay? That's what's happening, and we're going to get back our space back to what I know it to be, that I learned, that was passed on by our founders, and you guys are part of history in making.
So thank you so much for the kind words. Thank you, Paul. Thank you, Katie. Thank you, Daisy. Thank you so much. And thank you, Roger and Simon, for having us on with your group and your team.
Larry, Taylor, I think it's been absolutely gold. What you've gone through tonight, you absolutely frigging amaze me. Larry, I'd heard you literally 32 years ago. And I don't mind going public and saying this. It was down to you that kept me in the business, built the business, did the business and everything else. Because I learned real simple, you had this concept, you either mucked them in or mucked them off. And I tell you now, you stood no shit. You tolerated nothing and you were straight down the line. And I thought, wow, I'm going to follow that attitude. And that's what I've done. That's what I do. That's how I've been.
I love that.
Thank you for that. And I'm still that same way, but you got to understand something, okay? To speak no shit is different to a bunch of guys. It's different when 70% are women. So I got to have somebody that carry this message forward. Speak no shit like a woman would talk to another woman. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And by the way, guys,
Fortunately, some of the ladies on here are quite happy to speak no shit, so we're okay.
Oh, yeah, we got a lot of them.
And I've always built my business with women. Always. I've always said, get a bunch of women, put your feet up on the desk and let them carry the load, because you will. Because you guys, women are great at doing this stuff, okay? You just got to let them run, okay? And here's what I will close with it. I want you guys to know that you and your team, you're better than you think you are. You're more effective than you think you are. You're stronger than you think you are. I promise you this. And what our goal is to help you, to grow your team, to grow your check, to grow your company.
Is the sound going for anyone else?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sound's gone.
Okay.
Finished on a high.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Oh, you're back.
You're
back.
back again. The sound went a little bit, guys. But guys, it has been an absolute pleasure. And I hope that you'll be kind enough to do this again with us when we can tell you what results we're getting from this. People are heading straight over to join the book club. Naturally, I joined the book club the day I bought that book, so I'm just waiting, and I want to get my audios tomorrow and listen to them 1,000 times over and over again. But really, I think you've lit a spark, and I hope that people get the idea that we really do complicate things and we make things too tough on ourselves. And if there are 3 words that I could pick out of this, it's just simple, fun, magical. That's just
Brilliant.
make it that.
Yes.
Guys, I think you should all do me a favor now.
One more thing.
Okay?
One more thing.
One more thing.
What is the book club like? It's the taste, the feel, the smell of what you're getting today. Not the content. Because content, there's no notes, guys. There's no notes, okay? We deal with the crowd, but what you're tasting, what you're feeling, what you're thinking, okay, what your belief system is out of this, whatever it is, okay, is what the book club is about, and it's always at a different level. And here's what I will promise you, okay? I don't care who you are, okay? If you get involved with this deal, okay, you're going to get more than you expect. No matter what, you always get what you expect, and you've heard that phrase. But no matter what you expect, if it's bad, you're going to get more than you ever thought you were going to get out of being involved with the book club, which is your key, which leads you to everything else. It's always going to be, they get more than they think. If it's your negative brother-in-law, your next door neighbor, your mom, your dad, your dog, your cat, they're going to get more than they expect. And that is my last thing.
Fantastic.
We'll see.
It's just stepping on my toe. That's why I know it
One
hurts.
question someone just asked, what time is the book club on
12
Friday?
noon Dallas time.
12
Well,
You
Central.
guys will be notified. If you sign up for the book club, you're going to be sending, you'll get it.
So it's
Okay.
12 Central. So it's 3:45 in the afternoon here. So if that.
Perfect.
That's
fantastic. Okay, guys,
And
I
there's
want
only
you to do
one
me a
state in
favor.
America that matters, and that's Texas. So that's all that's always going to be Texas.
Okay. Okay. Guys, I want you guys to do me a favor. Can you please unmute yourself and give our guests a round of applause?
Cheers, mate.
Thank you.
To you.
Oh,
Thank you so much.
I'm going to go have a Guinness now.
Love it.
Well,
Love
that's
it.
music to poses.
Okay.
All right, thanks, guys.
See you
Thank
soon,
you.
guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Cheers.
Cheers. Thanks, Larry.
Bye.
Thanks.